can you state you're under oath that there is no possibility of interference from the Chinese in our operation, especially in the supply of electricity in this country, which was also stated by the chairman, no less than Henry C. Sr., that there is no possibility at all, and everything is fake news, that the Chinese can interfere and can black out the entire country. Can you say that categorically, unequivocally?
Mr. Almeida, you're under oath.
Yes, Mrs. Chair. Yes, there is no possibility that, that as far as I'm concerned, as a Filipino citizen and as a reserve also of the armed forces, I categorically say that there's no possibility, Mr. Chair, that the Chinese can, yeah.
Thank you. And with that, Mr. Chairman, it is clear that the NGCP has not violated any constitutional provision, and even the principles underlying the Constitution. It has been stated by Attorney Matibag that there were 7 violations, 777 in fact, so 21 violations. I understand that the most serious of these will be 2, the violation of Section 8, dispersal of ownership, which is your number 1, and the second is the anti-dummy law violation. May we know from Attorney Matibag if he has filed a anti-dummy case under Commonwealth Act 108 as amended by Presidential Decree 715 against any of the officials and officers of the NGCP.
No. Di po.
No case. May we know from the NGCP. So it's clear that the allegation of Mr. Matibag anti-dummy is in fact even himself, who has this particular report, has not filed or any case. Do you know of any case filed against any official of the NGCP that had been that are already defendants or accused under the anti-dummy law?
Ang alam ko lang po na imbestigahan ito sa Senado at sa batas naman po din, ang pagkakaalam ko, hindi dahil hindi kinasuhan ay hindi na po nag-violate ng batas.
No, in this case, in our country, the rule of law is that if you have a violation in criminal offenses which should be proved beyond reasonable doubt, there has to be a case. You cannot just allege there's
Kung criminal po, tama po.
There's
Pero
none.
kung ang pinag-uusapan lamang po ay tungkol sa concession na hindi dapat maglagay ng opisyal na o administrador na hindi po Pilipino, eh hindi po naman kailangan ng kaso. Dokumento lang po ang magpapakita kung nakita na kagaya ni Wenbo, nag-CTO po siya. Meron po bang violation o wala? Kailangan pa po bang magkaso ng kriminal o hindi na?
If to be able to assure and to be ensured that there is justice in this country, we cannot have insinuations of being in violation of anti-dummy.
Tama po
You
yun.
have to
Kung
go that. So
criminal
there
po.
is no case. Yeah?
Criminal,
You admit
wala po. Tama
no criminal
po.
case.
Pero sa Senado po, may investigation po.
Yun.
At
Just
binanggit
investigation,
po kanina
everybody.
si Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago ka mismo ang nagsabi po.
Okay, so there is an investigation. Now, I would like to ask NGCP, has any of your officers been accused in a criminal case of violation of Commonwealth Act 108 as amended by PD 715, the anti-dummy decree of the President?
Mr. Chairman, in response to that, no one among us had been the respondent or an accused in a criminal case for violation of the anti-dummy law. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Since 2008, when you operated, up to now, total of how many years? There has never been any filing of any case against any one of you, NGCP officials.
That's
correct?
correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So the first allegation is unfounded, and there is no case against any of the NGCP officials. Second, violation of Section 8. We have discussed this yesterday. The answer will be from the ERC. Has the NGCP violated Section 8 of the franchise on dispersal of ownership? Chairman.
Mr. Chair, I think as discussed last time, the ERC in its order resolving the motion for clarification determined by majority that the NGCP complied with Section 8.
So that is the current decision, immutability in the law of the case. It cannot be litigated even in our congressional hearings. Now, it is said that the national security, there are possibilities, as stated by the chairperson in a question, that there's a possibility that our national security has been jeopardized. And in the realm of possibilities, everything is possible. But in investigations like this, we have to have substantial evidence that there is really a violation. And so far as we have seen here, Mr. Chairman, there has been no clear evidence, clear decisions that there is a violation. And that is why we see here, Mr. Chairman, the commitment of the officers. I have yet to see clear violations, probably coming from the agency which has the primary responsibility for intelligence in this country, the NICA, of any adversarial action against the national security of our country. The answer of the NGCP is that, in fact, the NICA has officers in their premises. The armed forces too are open there. So I have yet to see any report from our intelligence community that the NGCP has been jeopardized in case of really assuring Philippine full control of our electric assets. And so therefore, there is really no evidence that our national security has been jeopardized as of this time. And we await, because there will be more hearings, and we await if there are really this particular evidence that may come out. On the matter of violation of the Constitution of the chairman, it's clear that the chairman can be a foreigner. Not any foreigner can be a chairman to preside. And then technical officers, it is technical, and that's why it can never be executive or managerial, because it's technical. So these are the things. And then another issue is regulatory effectivity. Despite the fact that there may be some questions on the ERC, the law does not vest on the DOE to regulate. No. We follow the law in this regime of the rule of law. By law, the ERC is the regulatory agency with all the powers in its command under the law that should be able to effectively regulate. And so the question of allegedly there were no audits, there were no systems analysis and systems investigation. There were failures in 2016, 17, 18. Well, if the ERC has just that resolved, it should have been done already. So, Mr. Chairman, in all of these issues, Mr. Chairman, there is absolutely no evidence that there is a violation whatsoever of the NGCP against the Constitution, the highest law of the land. Number two, against any statute, anti-dummy law, against their own franchise, nor the concession agreement. So I have been here. I was here the previous hearing up to the time that we ended at about 9 o'clock. Now it's 9:36, and so we stand here to make sure that the truth will come out and it will be based on evidence. And that is why, Mr. Chairman, I am saying that so far, as I have heard, and with all the testimonies and the evidences that have been submitted here, there is no There is no evidence that there is any violation of the NGCP, and there's also no evidence that the common good has been prejudiced under Article 12 of the Constitution. Chairmen who are foreigners, like in this case, a Chinese is a chairman, has no violation of the constitutional provision under Article 15 that it says there that executive and managerial positions are reserved to Filipinos. Clearly, the chairmanship is not a violation if you have a Chinese or any other foreign individual. Now, what's being brought here is that the chief technical officer. Question to SEC. Are technical officers executive or managerial positions violating the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. As to the duties of the Chief Technical Officer, it would largely depend on what is written in the bylaws of NGCP.
GCP, did you not examine that and then you had a decision and you have certified that there's no violation?
We have no certification that NGCP has not violated any constitutional provision. If I have to manifest that. What I have stated in the last hearing is based on an opinion by the SEC that was issued before, stating that chairman of the board may be a foreign national, but it has to be qualified that his duties will be limited to that of a presiding officer in board meetings.
That's correct. In GCP, okay. Oh, you have secured all the approvals of this chief technical officer. Can you tell us which agencies has approved and has now no objection to your appointment of a chief technical officer who is a Chinese?
Mr. Chairman, the chief technical, well, all our technical officers at that time had to go through a gamut of applications for work permits and visas, work visas. We first go to the DOE to get their endorsement, and they will endorse the application to the DOJ, and the DOJ will cascade that application to the
To get that
BID.
endorsement from DOE.
And then the BID, after yes.
Yes,
Well,
yes, for the record. The DOE endorsed your application, endorsed that position to be held by a Chinese, and then you can now go to the Department of Justice and the Bureau of Immigration, which I headed during the time of President Estrada.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. That's the procedure. And then they evaluate the functions that the technical personnel will be performing, and if they are indeed technical in nature, they will issue the permit for the technical personnel.
And were they issued permits from the Bureau of Immigration and the Department of Justice?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
For nobody has questioned these decisions of the agencies that are really looking into whether a position holder violates the Constitution or not. There was no adverse decision of all the agencies of the government.
Not that we recall, Mr. Chairman.
Was there, because you supervise corporations, was there a complaint of any person against the chief technical officer holding this position that it violates the law?
As of this moment, Mr. Chair, there is no filed complaint regarding that matter, Mr. Chair.
And so therefore, once again, I'm saying that there is no violation at all. And so, chairman can be a foreigner, chief technical officer can be a foreigner. Now, it's clear. Now, let's go to the most basic, the most important constitutional, what pervades the Constitution, and that is national security, Mr. Chairman. It is not mentioned in the Constitution, but in every section, every article of the Constitution, always national security. What is there is national territory, national development, and all of this. So then we go now to the issue of the Chinese with the NGCP. Okay. So now, you stated, Attorney Sagayo, that indeed you have a memorandum of agreement between you and NICA, correct? And NICA, Mr. Chairman, is the primary intelligence gathering and analysis of arm of the Philippine government, carrying out three functions: overt, covert, clandestine intelligence operations. So we have to find out on this issue of national security, which is brought about during the last hearing and then now, that the Chinese are there, and therefore there is this is a question of national security because the Chinese interferes with the NGCP, interferes in its operations, its decision making. And therefore, if they are there, it therefore creates a problem on national security, and which all of us Filipinos will be against if there is any foreign power that will therefore make, decide on the fate of Filipinos. We will know now whether this particular, has the NICA found any violation of NGCP in relations to these Chinese being there as technical or as board directors?
Before you answer, your 5 minutes up, but we will give you an extension because you're also a senior citizen.
Yes, I invoke
Okay,
that
for
because
those-
otherwise
okay.
there will be no equal protection of the laws.
Okay.
If you are going to give Congressman Marcoleta and not me. Thank you for the
Okay,
3 minutes.
thank you.
Otherwise, you violate the Constitution.
Mr. Chairman, please.
Please, attorney.
No finding of any violation by
And-
NICA. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And since when did you have this memorandum allowing NICA to really go into the operations, go into the your distribution system and the influence of the Chinese in the NGCP? When did you have that NICA agreement?
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Prior
Right.
to this administration, we had been allowing NICA, ISAF to inspect our facilities. During this administration of President Marcos, we entered into a memorandum of agreement with NICA. And also during this administration, we allowed them, Mr. Chairman, to hold office in NGCP. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So you're saying
Proceed.
that NICA, Mr. Chairman, can I proceed? You're saying that the NICA is holding office right there in your premises.
That's what I said, Mr. Chairman.
Wow. And
Thank you.
also, you mentioned about the ISAP. Do you have also agreements with the armed forces of the Republic of the Philippines?
Mr. Chairman, with respect to the armed forces of the Philippines, we have agreements in the local level with respect to the protection of our facilities. And we also have an agreement with the armed forces of the Philippines with respect to reservists. We have reservists who are employees of NGCP who committed themselves to protect the transmission facilities. And Attorney Samboy here is a lieutenant colonel. Is a lieutenant colonel of the reserve forces of the armed forces of the Philippines. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So in all the operations from the time you started in 2008 up to now, has there been any derogatory report and you have been asked by the NICA, the armed forces, and all the intelligence bodies here that you have to be, there are violations in terms of possibility. We're talking about possibilities. Possibility of interference by these Chinese who are always intruding illegally in our West Philippine Sea, and which the Chinese has lost all 8 points in the International Arbitral Tribunal in Den Haag. Was there any to alert you? Because the NICA is the primary intelligence gathering and analysis of our country. Was there anything from the time you operated up to now that NICA has called your attention to violations?
Mr. Chairman, there's none. We haven't received any notice from NICA, from ISAF, that we are violating security measures and laws. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And my final question is to the President, President Anthony Almeida. You're under oath. Where is Anthony?
Mr. Almeida, please take your respective seat. I think
Do you-
he went to the restroom.
Yeah. Do you assure this august committee on committee on franchise, with our distinguished members here present and the valued resource persons, can you state you're under oath that there is no possibility of interference from the Chinese in our operation, especially in the supply of electricity in this country, which was also stated by the chairman, no less than Henry C. Sr., that there is no possibility at all, and everything is fake news, that the Chinese can interfere and can black out the entire country. Can you say that categorically, unequivocally?
Mr. Almeida, you're under oath.
Yes, Mrs. Chair. Yes, there is no possibility that, that as far as I'm concerned, as a Filipino citizen and as a reserve also of the armed forces, I categorically say that there's no possibility, Mr. Chair, that the Chinese can, yeah.
Thank you. And with that, Mr. Chairman, it is clear that the NGCP has not violated any constitutional provision, and even the principles underlying the Constitution. Number
Thank-
two, Mr. Chairman, it has clearly followed all the provisions of its franchise. Third, all that they have done has been approved by the ERC. The pass-on of the franchise tax and all the cross ownership and also the public offering. So, Mr. Chairman, I do not see how we can continue with this hearing when there are no violations. Mr. Chairman, that is my question.
Thank you.
Would you again want to go delve on that when clearly the constitutional issues, the franchise issues, the speculations, Mr. Chairman, I think we should already adjourn and let's go to face what are the important bills of our country, like my intelligence bills, my anti-espionage bills,
Thank you
because
very
that
much.
will increase the penalties of spies.
Thank
in
you
this
very
country.
much, the
Thank you.
Honorable Rufus Rodriguez.
Mr. Chair.
Like I said, this is an inquiry, and not because there is a franchise violation, because that is for the committee to make, Congressman Rufus, and not solely within your authority. Okay? That is a collective
Mr. Chair.
decision. So hindi nyo kayang desisyonan ho kung may franchise violation. But again, we're looking at how to bring down the prices of electricity, and we will continue to do so until we're able to achieve that goal. Now,
Mr. Chair.